Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Connection with the Witty Comic Ground. We're just we're over the hump into the basically we're into the home stretch. Well, let's kick things off with Mary Jane and Black Cat #5, final issue of the miniseries that kicked off during Dark Web. In the end of last year. Dark Web, which wrapped up, I might add, early this year, a few months ago. Now, this was not delayed. It was just that rather than do a 3-issue miniseries, Marvel opted for a 5-issue miniseries. So, where we left off, Black Cat and Mary Jane had managed to retrieve Belasco's soul sword from the Screaming Tower. And, of course, the forces outside that were waiting to basically kill whoever it was that retrieved the sword and take the sword for themselves were waiting for them. And our titular duo, as well as their ally Sim, waded into that. So we begin at Belasco's castle in Limbo. Belasco asking basically where his soul sword is. And even asking what's become of Sim, and well, they kind of say, we lost track in the battle. Who cares? But so Belasco asks which of the two has his soul sword, and well, basically they realized early on that if either one of them actually took the sword, it would be bonded to them, and so the only way for Belasco to retrieve it would be to kill them. But that's not what they did. They split the sword in two. And so now they each have Belasco's soul sword. And yeah, they waded through the forces outside with Sim's help. And in the end, the soul sword is given to Sim. And he becomes the new ruler of Limbo, at least for the moment. And, well, bargains are kept, and Mary Jane and Felicia are sent home back shortly after Dark Web has ended, with Mary Jane somewhat introducing Felicia to her family. And that is where the series ends. So this was a good series, even with the. I am perturbed that it lasted longer than the story that it was released as a tie-in for, but it's still made for a good book. And maybe it's more I wish that Dark Web had lasted a little longer. But anyway, like I said, it was overall a good read. I largely blame writer Jed McKay for that. He certainly has a way with Felicia when it comes to writing her. So, moving on though to our next book, we've got Venom: Lethal Protector 2, #2. Where we left off, Venom had prevented the militia group Vanguard from retrieving an alien artifact that could potentially destroy all life, and had also managed to save the bacon of Silver Sable and the Wild Pack, leading to Sable offering Venom a job. Meanwhile, the Vulture is has been hired to do a job for none other than Doctor Doom, and a friend of Venom, of Eddie's, was apparently part of Vanguard, and Venom has Venom has helped him to lead the organization. At least that's what Pablo thinks. So we get to see Sable's pitch to Eddie to work as a civilian contractor, pay, lodging, expenses within reason, and he decides to take it. Nothing else will help out. Should help out Pablo. Though Pablo is a little more is resorted to I wouldn't say petty theft, but to theft. However, someone unfortunately from Vanguard is caught up with him and wants Pablo to come with him. At a private airstrip in Brooklyn, Nick Fury is meeting with Silver Sable and Venom and basically terminating the contract with Silver Sable. But, at least giving, while not being fond of the fact that Sable has hired Eddie, that's, and yes, that is part of the reason for terminating the contract. There are additional reasons. However, Vanguard attacks the helicarrier, and so Silver and Venom board it to save the day. Elsewhere at Wortham Tower, Eli Wortham, while working in his lab, learns that there's a security alert at Blessing Hospital, which is conveniently next door to Wortham Tower. Eli Wortham being none other than the vigilante Cardiac. And I'm quite happy to see Cardiac make an appearance because he doesn't show up that often. Back with Venom and Silver Sable, they deal with the Vanguard troops, while at Blessing Hospital, the security alert is because Vulture has shown up and is threatening the doctors and other employees of the hospital, looking for a specific doctor who volunteers to go with Vulture. Though Cardiac intervenes, leading to a rooftop battle between Vulture and Cardiac. At Vanguard's HQ, their Unit Trooper Beta is sent out, as the Alpha was sent on the last issue and was taken down by Venom. Unit Trooper Beta manages to mess with the systems on the helicarrier and allow the Vanguard troops to escape. Mainly, though, it's what she's done is mess with the helicarrier's power. Though Silver Sable notes there's an auxiliary power supply in the lower levels of the helicarrier, and so Venom busts his way out of the helicarrier and back in and activates the auxiliary power, allowing the helicarrier to land in Central Park. The fight between Vulture and Cardiac is fairly even, except for until Vulture's employer shows up, stating that one should never send a minion to do a master's job. And that is where the issue ends. So mainly, I am incredibly pumped that to see Cardiac making an appearance. Cardiac is a vigilante who occasionally gets painted with a darker brush, a more villainous brush. It's very much the corruption within certain systems, namely things like, oh, well, your insurance won't cover, like with medicine, like someone saying, oh, well, your insurance won't cover this procedure, so that's going to, it's going to financially destroy you, that kind of, and, well, he generally fights on the side of the person who would be denied said procedure. Last time I recall seeing Cardiac was in the early issues of, God, was it? I think it was the Christopher Cantwell Iron Man run. But anyway, it's a good issue. Like I said, I'm just stoked to see Cardiac getting some love and actually making an appearance. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Detective Comics number 1071, continuing Gotham Nocturne. Where we had left off, Talia was telling Batman of the Al Ghul family's history with the Orgams. Namely, that Arsen Orgam's father had been killed hundreds of years ago by his closest friend, Ra's al Ghul. Currently, Orgam Palace is having its grand opening in Gotham, and Batman certain that the Orgams are going to be making their grand move during this. Working with him to stop this are Nightwing and Batgirl, Cassandra. But we get more of the more detail into the whole Arsen's father was killed by Ra's al Ghul. Arsen's father was a member of a nomad tribe, and the Orgams had. They didn't want. It was clear that they had no intention of letting Arsen's father become their new king. They sent him on a quest to find a lost city, with the explanation being that said lost city was not lost itself, but rather it was lost to its people. Similar comments are made regarding Atlantis, with the potential being also stated as coming from Gotham. In the present, the Orgam Queen goes to visit her mother, who is dying, though someone is coming for a stone embedded in her skull. That someone is Vandal Savage, who arrives. In the past, Arsen's father and Ra's al Ghul reach the city, find its defenders, and learn the secrets within, including the secrets of the Lazarus Pit. Rather than take the treasure, eventually Ra's does kill Arsen's father. Back with Vandal Savage, he removes the stone from the Queen's mother, the head of the Queen Mother. But while yes, Ra's does kill Arsen's father, it's more stating that your wife's family's not going to let you be king. And if you return, they will likely kill you and your son. If you do not, then, well, your son will live. And so his death is for the greater good of his son surviving. But Talia also gives Batman further information on the various related artifacts that he's been finding. The Asmer and the music box. And while Batman's dealing with Gorgon's thugs, Tarzan is told that it is time. So our A story ends. Our B story, oh God, I can't remember this kid's name, but Jim Gordon's amnesiac ward has found Harvey Dent's psychiatrist in Mr. Freeze's lair and freed her. But he's attacked by Mr. Freeze. She basically hits Freeze and the kid with some analysis, but it turns out that Freeze's experiments have nothing to do, this time, have nothing to do with his wife, but rather with him. Something is wrong with him and he's trying to fix it. But Doctor leaves, and Mr. Freeze notes that the boy touched the superconductors, and the exotic energy he's able to trace it to Arkham. And that is where that backup story ends. Also, it does seem that the treatments that Freeze put the Doctor through did have some rejuvenating effects, as Gordon's amnesiac young ward is hard-pressed to believe that she's actually in her 40s, not her 20s. Moving on, though, to our next book, we've got Harley Quinn, number 29. Where we left off, Harley was got a teaching job at Gotham Community College as public service, because, well, they're having trouble retaining teachers. But it seems she's also somehow breaking the multiverse slightly, and Lady Quark has threatened her with the destruction of Earth Zero should it continue. Lady Quark returns to her home on Earth 98, telling her husband and daughter what's going on. In Harley and Ivy's place, she gets up early so she can get ready to go out into the world, and, well, before work, she has something she has to do. Or rather, someone she has to go see. Zatanna. So, Zatanna, she explains what's going on to Zatanna, and Zatanna puts together a charm, but she's like, there has to be a sacrifice. It doesn't necessarily have to be a person, just something, and so she spends the day thinking about it. One of her students asks about some of her papers and the lack of self-awareness. Then that night she attacks Two-Face and his goons in the hopes of drawing out Batman. Doesn't seem to work, but using the signal does. They talk, and she tells Bats what's going on. Though Harley states that the Bat villains have been everyone's been joking about Batman being the world's greatest detective. Turns out, but she realizes what it is she has to sacrifice. the plant that Ivy left her. But she then gets a visit from multiversal variants of Bud and Lou, anthropomorphic talking hyenas. Our backup story, Hyena Anxiety, deals with Harley talking with Bud and Lou and them responding. Things, they did it. They've written a tell-all about her, and everyone hates her, and she's been canceled, or maybe she's dead, and they're chaos lords, and yeah, or maybe it's actually just a furry thing, or maybe that she's or maybe she's a figment of their imagination. And yeah, it's or maybe they're a figment of her imagination. Maybe she's a figment of theirs, and yeah. It's a bit odd, and in the end, they appear to be back to normal, but they're still that they are actually fully articulate multiversal anthropomorphic hyena forms. We're going to hold off though on telling her that. And that is where the issue ends. And this is definitely an interesting run on Harley. And so, I will admit that in some ways it feels like the book is just kind of in a holding pattern until they can basically bring Ivy in as a regular supporting character again. And so, but we'll see. I like the idea of Harley being a community college professor. I mean, she is, after all, an actual, doctor. So, and it's not like she's teaching a course that's outside of her purview. She's teaching criminal psych. Anyway, moving on to our last one for the moment, we've got Tim Drake Robin, number 8. Where we left off, Tim's boyfriend's family were involved in an attack on a restaurant, as were Tim and his boyfriend, but an attack perpetrated by Firefly. Though this led to a falling out between the parents of Tim's boyfriend. However, that plot point is just kind of being left there for the moment. At the marina, Tim's working on his boat, ruminating about the fact that people ask him, why a boat? And the various issues with doing so. But something falls from the sky, or rather, someone. Batwoman. Lots of blood on her gloves, but not hers apparently. And she's still alive. Tim and Sparrow, after suiting up, do what they can to help Batwoman, and apparently she has no memory of anything after her recent appearances in Harley Quinn. She went home, went to pass out, heard a noise, that's the last thing she remembers. The blood on her gloves does not match anything in the GCPD's database, so that's a plus, maybe? Hopefully. Batwoman is mad that apparently no one in the Batman can look for her. But Tim points out that they've seen her since helping her, since in the time that she's missing. She came over for Christmas dinner. She helped Tim move on his boat. But something is amiss elsewhere in Gotham, and so, as good members of the Bat family, they're going to investigate. It appears to be chaos monsters. So, Robin, Batwoman, and Sparrow go in to deal with the chaos monsters. Batwoman and Robin go after someone who appears to be leading the charge from a rooftop. The Sparrow is seemingly stabbed in the stomach. When they get to the rooftop, see who to deal with those who seems to be directing this the chaos. And the so-called seeming ringleader takes down Batwoman with a solid right cross, and then thanks Robin for helping him capture a child killer. Meanwhile, Robin's GCPD contact calls Robin, explaining that Sparrow is pretty badly hurt. She doesn't know if she's going to make it. And that is where the issue ends. Oh boy. That it'll be interesting to see just what's happening to Batwoman during her missing time. And it should be noted that yes, that missing time, she has shown up. People have seen her. Anyway, as I mentioned in the last video, next Saturday, May 6th, is Free Comic Book Day. And if you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, namely, or at least especially in or near, I should say, I'll be at Rock Bottom Comics in Fayetteville from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. helping out for Free Comic Book Day. So by all means, if you're in the area or in or near the area, come by, check out, maybe pick up some of the free comics for Free Comic Book Day. Look through some of the not so free comics, or look through the graphic novels. Anyway, that's going to do it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.